Hey everybody, Will Fix here. Today's video is going to be about how XRP is going to be one of the winners of the Great Reset. If you don't believe in that there's going to be a reset, it doesn't matter if you believe it's planned or unplanned, if it's coincidental just by mishandling the United States, mishandling our finances, or if you believe it's a conspiracy or plan. I have a video that's Andy Schectman, if you know who that is. He owns Miles Franklin, and he's always got good stuff to say. And he was on Zach Rector's show, and got a clip of what he said that's real interesting, that ends with what he believes the good investments will be. So this is only like 7-8 minutes long, but it's very valuable. I really want everybody to hear this and hear who's in place in charge of our finances under this current administration, and what they think and how they believe things should be. A little bit about the de-dollarization is in this, but it's about, I think, 6-7 minutes long. Just check it out. Hey, if you like this kind of content, give me one of these. LO smash it O, and give me a thumbs up there. And if you like content about XRP, the economy, and how we're going to win, give me a subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Watch this video. I'll close it out at the end.
Thomas Jefferson said the same thing 300 years ago. And I'm going to get it kind of wrong, but he said, if we allow a central bank to control our currency, first by inflation. Now, we've seen the inflation. They printed more money in 4 years than in the history of the country before it. 80+% of every dollar in circulation was printed in the last 4 years, while suppressing interest rates. This created massive distortions in asset prices, misallocations. So first by inflation, then by deflation, we will end up renting back the land that our forefathers conquered. Now think about the deflation part. Everyone keeps talking about the M2 falling off the cliff. Why is that happening? Because the Fed and the Treasury are aiding and abetting this exodus out of the banking system, destroying the money supply, because they're chasing yield. You can go right to treasurydirect.gov and buy treasuries paying more than you can get anywhere else, including a money market or any CD. You take all bank risk out of it, and you're giving that money to the Treasury for their bonds, their short-term treasuries. That is also pulling money out of the system. It's deflationary. First by inflation, then by deflation. So what does that really mean? Well, think about it. All of the prices that were inflated, you got all these people in mortgages at 3 and 4%. They feel, hey, that's awesome. I'm psyched. Got a 4% mortgage on a $500,000 house. What happens if you lose your job as the economy continues to slow in this deflationary environment? How do you maintain it? So first will be the commercial real estate that blows up, which will then have its effect on the residential. We're not there yet. But first by inflation, then by deflation. Well, that's exactly what's happening. And it's very reminiscent to what Klaus Schwab said. And I just want to make one other point to kind of, because I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but one of the things that I haven't talked with you about that really is eye-opening to me. I've said all of this stuff publicly for 4 years. But if you look at the two lead economic advisors to the US government, it's very scary. Number one is a man named Jared Bernstein, who has a degree in music and a master's degree in social work. He is the chief economic advisor of this country, and his entire thesis is to lose the world reserve status. He's written about it. It's been picked up in the New York Times and the Washington Post. He wrote an article called Dethrone King Dollar. When Trump slapped tariffs on China, he said, good, hopefully we lose the reserve status. That was picked up in the Washington Post. If you wanted to lose the reserve status, you weaponize the dollar, you kick Russia out of SWIFT, you make the rest of the world say, shit, are we next? And then you tell the linchpin of the dollar hegemony, Saudi Arabia, hey, guys, we're going green. We just signed an executive order. But hey, thanks for everything. You have just incentivized the world to find an alternative to the dollar and to dump the dollar as the petrostatus. Couldn't draw it up any better. But then you look at the number two economic advisor, And I'll tell you something, Zach. The number two economic advisor is just as scary. It's Lael Brainerd. She is a modern monetary theorist. She worked at the Treasury. She was vice chair at the Fed under Powell, and she worked point with MIT in developing the central bank digital currency that Biden signed an executive order. And she also ran point on FedNow, which just came out 2 months ago. A lot of people don't know what that is. I'm sure your people do, but that's Venmo and Zelle backed by the Federal Reserve. That will be the death knell of checks and of wires within a year. Every bank will then use FedNow, just like that instantly. Oh yeah, I just FedNow you $1 million. It's in your account. Go ahead and buy me some gold. Point of it is that that's the appetizer into the central bank digital currency. But she wants to get rid of the banks. She wants to call them and have a central bank digital currency issued by the Fed. She did develop this with MIT. Now, if that happens, what do? You got to get rid of the banks. How do you get rid of the banks? Well, you allow the money markets to put their money in the overnight reverse repo market. That sucked $1 trillion out of the regional banks, going to the too big to fail banks, because in a regional bank, you get 4.5% in a 1-year CD, or in a money market, you get 5% with daily liquidity. Money markets are run by the commercial banks. Everyone leaves the regional banks, making them about this close to blowing up.
Yeah.
And then what does the Treasury do? Oh, we'll give you short-term treasuries higher than that. So all that money's leaving the repo market, going right to the Treasury. And all of that money is leaving the system, first by inflation, then by deflation. The money is leaving the system. The banks are fractured. They are massively over leveraged and undercapitalized. And you see an event where interest rates spike, the banks, boom, every one of them blows up fast because they're already underwater at these rates. You see the market push rates higher, it blows it up. But that's exactly what Lael Brainerd wants. She wants a modern monetary theorist dream, and that is a central bank digital currency where you have 4 or 5 commercial banks doing loans and mortgages and whatnot, and the 4,500 regional banks dead in the water. You couldn't draw it up any better. So yes, I do think there will be an event, and I think that event is coming. And that event will be that the market dictates interest rates, not Powell. And the villain, well, that's those guys who did it to us. It's option C. A is inflate, B is default, or C is find a villain. And we didn't do this. It wasn't the fact that our brain dead monetary policy put us in this position. It's those bastards. And this country is naive enough to believe it. And honest to God, I believe that's exactly what they're trying to do. So guys like you, God bless you, telling people, hey, get metals, get crypto, get it in your own possession, remove counterparty risk. And that's going to be, in my opinion, the only way that you get out of the way of what's coming. And most people have no clue what's coming. But if you just take a look at the moves we are making outside this country and inside, and one last piece, and then I'll shut up and answer any questions you have.
Good.
To make it really effective, what do? You create massive divisiveness within this country, and there's no unity. You have 65% of America living paycheck to paycheck, 45% earning over 6 figures paycheck to paycheck. Everyone is at each other's throats. There's lawlessness. There's divisiveness. It's red, it's blue, it's black, it's white, it's vax, it's no vax, it's rich, it's poor. We're not a united country anymore, because every time we've ever had our backs to the wall as a country, like after World War II or the Great Depression, we were united. We believed in God. We believed in religion. We believed in respecting authority. We the nuclear family, all of these things that made this country special are kind of floating off into the ether. Yeah, so I hate to say it, but honest to God, I believe like this is part of a bigger plan. And this isn't about the CPI and all of the micro. That's noise to me, although we should look at it and talk about it. To me, it's a bigger picture, is that we have crossed the Rubicon. We're almost at 130% debt to GDP. We're a couple percent below that. There has never been a country in history ever that has crossed that line that has not defaulted outright or by hyperinflation.
Isn't that amazing? He's a real sharp guy. He been calling this for a couple of years about the de-dollarization, Saudi Arabia, and some of the other things. Now we see this stuff happening. Hey, don't let this stuff get you heavy. Most of you guys are invested in the crypto. That's tomorrow's money. And I want to tell you, no matter what happens to the dollar, there's going to be more people using XRP than the dollar in the soon coming months, maybe years. But we're going to have a great advantage out of this. And so I'm not wishing any of this stuff to go bad. But when this stuff goes bad, XRP, gold, silver, and some of these cryptos, this is the way of the future. It does look like there'll be a reset. We may have a complete collapse of the dollar one day. But if nothing else, we're going to have the dollar go way down in value and a lot of inflation to deal with. And then, like he said, inflation, deflation. So our money system's going to get stressed. So don't be afraid. Just buy some more XRP. Hey, it's going to be all right. You guys have a good night.